5.5 years now. Time flies, certainly. And so here with me today, I also have Gizem, one of our senior managers actually at our customer relations team, then Silver, who is a senior manager of marketing business development. And so one thing that's always struck me the most about MPOWER is that we're a team of former international students on a mission to make studying abroad easier for future international students. We know the struggle, we've been there, and we're really excited with MPOWER to help get you to where you want to go, whether that's in the United States or Canada. And so I'm going to launch a poll, which is a clever way of letting people join. And then during this poll, our panelists are going to introduce themselves. Awesome. So Gizem, why don't you introduce yourself for our group today?
Absolutely. My name is Gizem, of course, Claire introduced me very well. One of the things that I wanted to mention is, first of all, I've been here close to 4.5 years, so I didn't beat Claire yet, but I'm getting there. But I was an international student myself. I came here and experienced different things throughout my journey in the US. So I'm very happy to be with you guys here and answer any of your questions and make this process seamless for you.
Thank you so much, Gizem. And you said you haven't beat her yet. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but we'll see.
I don't know.
And Silver, over to you.
Hey everyone, this is Silver Yang. I'm from China. I was an international student myself, so really happy to meet you guys today. And I have been with MPOWER for more than 3 years. Actually, I was interviewed by these two guys speak today. Yeah, it was a really nice trip with MPOWER because the mission we have, and definitely we are committed to serve as many international students as we can to help with your journey overseas.
Thanks, Silver. So if you joined a little bit into the webinar, heads up that this webinar is built around your questions. You'll see a Q&A function at the bottom of the screen. Drop any question you have at any time. We have a lot of people on chat today to respond to your questions directly, or we may answer them live. But the earlier you get the question in, the faster you'll get a response. So please use that Q&A function if you haven't yet. And I'm going to end the poll in 5, 4, time. Okay. Great. So I'm going to share the results as well. And it looks like, wow, we have 72% from Africa and 10% from South and Southeast Asia and a spattering of other countries. Great to have you all. Wow, really, and also a very diverse mix in terms of where people are in the study abroad journey. About a third are thinking about studying abroad. 23% have applied to study and are waiting to hear back from their school about full acceptance. Another third have been accepted, congratulations. And then we have 8% who are currently enrolled in a program. And then the most important question ever, what is your favorite morning beverage? 28% are coffee drinkers, and clearly the winners in the supreme group. I'm not biased. We have 33% for tea, 8% juice, and then a lot of people like to be hydrated with some water in the morning. Gizem and Silver, I have to know. What's your favorite morning beverage?
I'm drinking my morning coffee. It's actually my second coffee for today. Yes, definitely I'm a coffee drinker.
Yeah.
My answer is going to be split here. I'm originally from Turkey. We have Turkish coffee and tea. So I will go with whatever my heart desires in the morning, and it depends on what time I wake up. But I think I'm 50-50 there.
So I guess we need a fifth answer for whatever my heart desires for the next one. And that's probably what most people would choose. Great. So I think I see we have a lot more attendees. So good. A lot more people have joined. Please ask us questions, everyone, using the Q&A function. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So starting off, Silver, can you introduce MPOWER to the group? I think a lot of people here looking at the poll are still thinking about studying. They may not know us very well. So please tell them just a little bit more about MPOWER and what we do.
Okay. So MPOWER, in one sentence, that we help international students to fund their education overseas. And currently we support more than 400 universities in the US and Canada, and there's no limitation on majors or programs. So if I'm talking about you, please welcome to apply. MPOWER actually started in 2014 by two international students. Their name is Manu and Mike. They came to the US to study. And then during the time, they found out that they are having troubles to funding themselves. And then they also find that some of their friends and even their family members also have the same problem because okay, no problem. Because the banks in the US or Canada, they usually do not support international students. That you have to have a co-signer who's happened to be a citizen and or a permanent resident to co-sign your loan application. Only in that case that you can get a loan to fund your study. So it's quite hard for international students to fund by themselves. Because of this reason, and Manu and Mike decided to start a company on their own. And then back then, this is why they found MPOWER as a social benefit corporation, and with a mission to make socioeconomic mobility borderless.
I think a nice follow-up question to sort of supporting our mission is sort of like, how do we do this? Can you tell them a little bit more about the products we offer and how we help international students?
Sure. MPOWER currently we offer three types of product. One is loan, student loan that you can use it on your tuition and or for some schools in the US that you can also use loan for your living expense. And another product is our scholarship, and we offer scholarship to everyone who go to our support schools. And also, we also offer refinance. So if you have a loan in your home country, and maybe you have a co-signer attached to it or collateral attached to it, and then you want to release your co-signer, please come get a loan with us, because our loan does not need co-signer or collateral, and we only evaluate our customers' own academic performance, your financial situation. So basically, we only evaluate your own potential, not your family background or other aspect of you. And we offer loans to three types of customers. Like one is international students that we offer it from students that from 190 plus countries. We also offer our loan to our DACA recipients, and some of you probably in the US. And we also offer loans to some refugees. So please welcome to check eligibility with us, and you will know that if you are eligible for our loan or not. And there's also some criteria for our customers who's eligible with us. One is that you need to be accepted or enrolled in one of our support schools. As I said, we support more than 400 schools in the US and Canada with no limitation on majors or programs. So come to our website and check that if your school is supported by us. Most likely, yes.
I have one clarification. You can actually, as soon as you apply to school, you can start your loan application. So you won't be able to get through the entire process. You can at least submit it. So if you are one of I think there's about a third of you or so that have applied to school, you can apply for the loan. We'll just get, there's a certain part where you need the acceptance letter to get it in. So sorry, Silver, thought that was important.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Actually, if you come to our website and you will see 4 options that you can choose from. You can choose, I'm thinking about study because I haven't started my application with schools yet, but I just want to check if I can get funding. You're welcome to come choose that. And if you can, if you also have applied but haven't accepted to a school, that you can also come start your loan application. It's only that we need to review your acceptance letter with your school once you pass the initial review of our loan application. So that's one criteria. And the second criteria of the eligibility is that you need to be within 2 years of graduation. What does it mean? It means that if your program duration is within 2 years, for example, if you do a master's degree in the US or Canada, it's usually 1 to 2 years. And then you're welcome to start your loan application before you even started your program. Or if you are still in your undergraduate degree, and we can still fund you for the last 2 years of your undergraduate degree.
Great. So yeah, sorry, that was me struggling to find the mute button or the unmute button. So you've spoken a bit about, the types of products we offer and then who's eligible. One of the best things about our loan are some of the features. Can you talk a little bit through the financials, just to clarify what fixed rate is and, how much money you can borrow?
Sure. So MPOWER's loan is it's actually, what's unique about it is that we offer fixed rate. And I think we're the only fixed rate loans with no requirement of a cosigner and for international students. Usually if you get a loan from the banks, they would offer fixed rate, but with a requirement of you to provide a cosigner or collateral. Fixed rate is really especially good in our current economy environment because as we all see that in the news that there are always about countries like raising their interest rate, and also the US government also raised their interest rate for a few times. But with a fixed interest rate, which means that your loan through the whole term, your rate will never go up. So it's really a lower risky option, especially for international students who may not have a certain plan after you graduate, right? You may thinking about, oh, I probably will go back to my home country after I graduate, or I probably want to stay here to find a job in the US or Canada, but we just don't know. In that case, fixed rate is lower risk and more stable and a better predictable option for you. And our loan is offer a flexible amount that you can start your application with as low as $2,001 per application and up to $100,000 in total lifetime for each academic period, which means probably in like one semester or one quarter, you cannot apply for more than $50,000. If you, just like keep that in mind. So total is $100,000 a lifetime, and per academic period is $50,000. And it can go as low as $2,001 per application if you need some pocket money for living expense.
Need a laptop, hate your roommates, we're here to help. Great. So Silver, I think I have one more question for you before we turn over to Gizem for the application walkthrough. Gizem, I can see that you are excited and ready to. Absolutely. So Silver, some of the other benefits you kind of touched on a little bit, no cosigner, no collateral, credit history, and so on. Can you clarify those points in just a little bit briefly for our attendees before we move to the application walkthrough?
Yeah, sure. I just mentioned that MPOWER's loan that we do not need collateral or cosigner, which means that you can apply on your own. You do not need your parents' help. You do not need to use your house properties or anything as a collateral. Our loan can also help you to build credit history if you make on-time payment consistently. While you are in school, that you only need to pay interest. You do not need to start to pay principal until 6 months after you graduate. So that means that if you borrow $10,000, like just for example, and while you are in school, every month you only need to pay about $100 to $200 in interest. If you borrow more, and the interest will be higher, but compared to the loan institutions that require to pay both interest and principal, this is really good for you. And if you can get an on-campus job, that you can actually cover the repayment every month. There's also a perk with MPOWER that we offer career support for our customers. We have a program, it's called Path to Success, and every customer with us are eligible to participate, and it's free. We offer career counseling and resume proofreading, and also one-on-one mock interviews to help you to build up your career while you are still in school.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Silver. I'm going to turn over to Gazem, but just quick heads up, I see actually a lot more people joined. Please drop us questions in the Q&A function, and someone on our team get back to you, or we'll answer it live towards the end of this session. But we need your questions because we built the second half of this session around it, and so we're really eager to hear from you. Awesome. So Gazem, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I'll share my screen so that I can walk you guys through as to what's happening with our application. First of all, with our application, what is good is when you're getting started, you go to empowerfinancing.com and then you get started. Very easy, one click. Then we'll walk you through to understand if you meet the eligibility criteria. And as Silver mentioned, if you meet those eligibility criteria, we'll move you to understand more about you, your personal journey, and which school, your employment, your financial information, and also getting the identification and going to the next step where the actual journey starts. So now I will walk you guys through as to what we do at each step. You see my name here. This is my test. So how do you check your eligibility? First of all, like Silver mentioned, what brings you to MPOWER? Are you thinking about studying like some of our joinees here? Or did you apply to a school, haven't been accepted? Or if you have been accepted, which means that you have your acceptance/admission letter, but you didn't start your program yet, which comes in as enrolled. I'm currently enrolled at a school, meaning that you just started or you finished more than one semester or one quarter, whatever the term is for your school. And the other option is, which I love this the most, because you may be enrolled, but you're transferring. So you might have had started somewhere else, but now for this current school you need the loan for, this is your transfer school. The reason that we're asking these is to understand what your journey will be and walk you through according to what documents will be required and what information is required more. So according to one of your options, we'll move forward. What we'll ask is expected graduation date. Expected graduation date is for the school that you're applying for. So you may not know the actual date. However, your school will, when you get admission especially, you'll know how long is it. Is it like 18 months, 2 years? So you can do a good estimate of it. If your program is starting September 22 and it's 18 months, you can add 18 months on it and then put that there. Of course, we'll have better understanding when we get the documents. What is your current GPA? This GPA is only for this current school that you're applying for. If you're just admitted to the school, we do not put the GPA for your previous school. It's only for the loan school that we need the GPA. And GPA would be the grade point average in the US and Canada. They also have their own scale system, but in the US, the scale system is up to 4. So if you're going to a Canadian university and you're enrolled, your school will also give in the website what your scale is and conversion to that, so that we can capture the actual GPA that you have. If you don't have it, you wouldn't need to fill this. Normally, if you're just accepted, we wouldn't ask for your GPA. But if you're enrolled, we'll ask for the GPA. So the other thing to look at is we'll look at which major you're in. I mean, which degree you're in. So is it master's, MBA, PhD, bachelor's, anything that you can see from here, you can choose, and you will have an option as other, where if it's not relevant to these, you can also provide that to us. But you will be able to choose whatever is the most relevant to your degree. Then the next thing would be, of course, we'll ask for your major, but after understanding your current situation, and like if you're a master's, so when we talked about the eligibility criteria, right, you need to be graduating within 2 years. It needs to be a school that you're admitted to. We're going to also ask about which school you're going to, and then we're going to also include that in there. And please, when you're choosing the school, ensure that you choose the school with the right campus so that we can accommodate your requirements accordingly. So after we check your eligibility, we'll ask your name, first name and last name. Suggested is whatever is on your passport, please put that in, because when your school is also processing your requirements, your requests, they look at it from the passport. So it should be matching to ensure that there's no error in the near future. So after you put those, you're also going to put your citizenship country according to the passport country, not where you're currently residing. You may have dual citizenship, you may be a permanent resident somewhere else. Please put the citizenship country that you want to go with if you're a dual citizen, so we can process things accordingly. But we need the citizenship country here. Then we will also need to look at your permanent address. When we're looking at the permanent address, we want to know your citizenship country address. So one of the things that will be important here is, if you're already residing in the US or Canada, we would love to know that, and that will be your mailing address in the US or Canada. But for your permanent address, please put your citizenship country address if feasible. If you're a permanent resident somewhere else, your relationship manager will talk to you about that. You can also put that in, but we would need proof that you're permanent there. Then we'll get your phone number, and the good news is you can put it according to the country code. So you can type your country name, it will pop the country code, and then you put your phone number. And one of the good features is that if you want to be contacted via WhatsApp, and that's a very common thing, you can also put that here so that any communication that you will need in the near future, we can also send you automated emails as needed so that we can use that so you can be up to date live. We'll look at your immigration status. So we're going to try to get to know you a little bit more as to what are your credentials from immigration perspective? What do you need from us? Do you need support from MPOWER? Do you have visa? So as far as immigration status is concerned, if you're going to be on a visa that is temporary, like student visa, work visa, please choose non-citizen. If it's DACA, it's DACA. Permanent resident, it's for permanent resident for US. Citizen is US citizen. So if you're not US permanent resident or US citizen or DACA or asylee seeker or refugee, please choose non-citizen. Then we will ask you if you already have a visa. And there will be a lot of options for a visa. If you can see here, show more, there are other visas that qualify to study in the US. So you will also see them, including refugee here, because some refugees will have visa or just be on the paper. But you will be able to see all of that as well. If you don't have visa in the US yet, it's okay. Because one of the good features that we have is if your loan is approved, we'll be able to issue a support letter to get your I-20 as an international student, right? Then also a loan offer if that moves forward to get your visa. So visa is not required. If you're in the US already or Canada, we would love to see that so that your process of documentation goes seamless. But we try to ensure that you don't see it as a requirement unless you're in the US or Canada. And it's not, because we're there to support you free of charge for support letter for visa documentation if your loan is approved. So the next thing is, now we're going to get to know even more about your school. You're going, for example, to master's. What are you studying? So you will put your major here. When you put your major, it will auto-populate things. Please choose the most relevant major. It doesn't have to be exactly what it is, because when we get your admission letter, or if you're already studying transcript, etc., we'll know what that major is, but we need the approximate major there. And if you're doing any dual degree, so you have master's, MBA, and master's in finance, there are programs like that. It's very crucial for us to understand that from graduation perspective and cost perspective, so we can support you in the best possible manner for both degrees as required. The other thing that we want to look at is STEM degree, and some of you might have already heard that. This is any major that is in science, technology, engineering, or math. So it's important for us to know if it's a STEM degree to understand the actual major, like what type of capacity it is. When you're also going through US schools, a STEM degree is designated by the government. So you can even find it online. You can write down USCIS STEM checklist, they will tell you exactly. So we want to understand if it's relevant to that. And if you don't know, it's perfectly fine. Please check with your school, because your school has that. Every school has to have it. So you can always check with them and see if that's different. And we can always circle back in the application when you submit. If it's changed, you can always reach out to your dedicated relationship manager. Then we'll rectify that for you. And we want to know if your program is full-time, half-time, to understand like how many months is it going to take for you to finish your program. So if your school is already giving that information to you, please take full advantage of it. If it's part-time, doesn't mean that it's not going to be 2 years, right? There are a lot of accelerated programs now where they're part-time. So please ensure that you put that and the right anticipated graduation date, so it doesn't cause any mishap or mismatch. Cumulative GPA comes here already. So if you didn't start your program yet and you just transferred, for example, to this current loan school, please avoid this. It's not going to pop anyways if you choose the right option in the beginning. But if you are, if it's Canada school, please ensure that it's converted to 4 scale. If you already have your grades, please put the cumulative GPA. So if you finish 3 semesters already, it will be an average that your transcript will show. The cumulative, basically average GPA, needs to be put in here. Then we want to know how you're going to study. Are you going to study on campus? Is it hybrid, meaning is it online and on campus? Is it online? We want to ensure that we know where you're also going to be located to start with, to be able to issue certain documentation to help you with your immigration documents, because we will definitely need the admission letter, and to disperse the funds for US, we will need I-20. We need to understand where your immigration status would stand if it was online, for example. But normally on campus and hybrids, there's not much of miscommunication issues there. But those are the things that we'll ask from school understanding. And now we will also ask, what grade level will you be in? This is a very common thing that there is a mistake about. You need to look at it from upcoming term. So right now, if you're in this current term and you need the funds, for example, you need to say that you're going to be in this term. But if you if you just finished it, right, your first year, for example, you're starting your second year and then you need it for fall, you need to put second year. So whenever like you just finish, and especially this happens at spring semesters, like May, let's say you apply in May for fall, and let's say you finish your first year in master's, you need to put second year because you're starting your second year and you need the funds for fall. So this is how you would do. Some of the things that I would like to alert is, some parts of the applications can be changed, right? Not by you after you submit it, but relationship manager can help with documentation. Please ensure that always the school information, like degree, is correct. STEM type of things that can be changed. School name and campus needs to be correct. And your immigration status needs to be correct. If you're a DACA versus non-citizen, we need to ensure that we get the right information so the application flow doesn't break. So I just wanted to go back here to tell this because we talked about a lot, but I wanted this to have the biggest impact. So if you have any errors, please let your relationship manager know for sure. They will also guide you through what can be adjusted or not, but please ensure this immigration status, school name and campus and degree are 100% correct. Because sometimes we may need to start a new application. We don't want that. So we don't want to try to do that for you. So that would be much easier. So next, we're going to talk about understanding some of the employment and scoring. So you will see language tests. You're going to see standardized tests. Standardized tests are basically tests like GRE, GMAT that your school may require, or it may be waived, or they waived it for you or for the university overall. So if you took it, please always put that. So if you took your GRE, you were required, please put all the scores, and the percentile rank would be for GMAT, for example, so that while we're looking at your application, it's seamless. We don't need to ask, hey, did you take your GMAT? Because we want to look at your future potential as well. So some of these fields are very crucial. So if you took it, please let us know. If it's waived, click on waived. If it wasn't required, you can click on required, especially also for language tests. Most of the international students need to take it, not all. But if you were required to take it, please put it in there and put your score. If it's waived, you can also choose that. If you haven't taken it, maybe you want to let us know that you're going to take it for your admission. Sometimes admission requires that as well. So if you didn't take it yet, that's perfectly fine. Please ensure that you communicate that you will take it and your school requires it, so we can look at your application holistically. Employment. If you're currently employed, not currently employed, but you were employed in the past, or you don't have any employment history, that's perfectly fine. This is not a requirement that you have to have employment history, but if you have it and if it's relevant to your major, let's say if you're a biochemical engineer and then you're studying masters in biochemical engineering, they're relevant. So anything relevant to your major, please provide them information as to how long you worked, how often, like, and if you have other jobs, like if you did it for 5 years, what was your title, what was your salary, as much as you remember, if it was a long time ago, please provide that. That will be very crucial for us to, if you have that information. Then one of the most important things, right? Money, financials. How do we go about this? This is one of the areas that customer students come back to us. So what I wanted to talk about here is your financial information with the school, right? Your major, you will need to provide us your tuition costs, cost of living, and we'll talk about that very soon. Any additional costs, it can be like books, transportation, health insurance costs, because as international students, you're required to get health insurance. Normally, the school also provides that, or you get it outside, however that works. So we want to understand your full picture as to how much your school costs, how many semesters do you have, and how much can we help you, basically, so that you achieve your educational goals. Here, you will put an estimated cost of 1 year. So normally 1 year is 2 semesters, right? Normally it runs from fall to spring. It may be different for you. Your school, when you go to the university website, you can write down cost of attendance. They will give you a drop down of what your costs are. Sometimes they may put it per credit, per semester. You will have an understanding if it's per semester. In your university website, you multiply it with 2, for example. So you put your 1 year costs for tuition, cost of living, additional costs, like we talked about, books and transportation and other fees. Some schools may put other fees that they charge, like activity fees and tuition. Sometimes they may not. So they will list it out for you. And your health insurance costs. Cost of living, if you're going to live on campus, that will be different than living off campus. You may not know it yet, or you may have relatives living in the US that you're going to stay with. So please think through about what costs you may have, even though you're not going to live on campus, and provide that, because one of the good news is that for US schools, we can support living expenses if the financial aid office is good with this decision. So it gives you a better understanding of what your costs are, so you can use MPOWER loan accordingly. All right, so what we do is we do the calculation for you. So you don't need to worry about additional calculation. We see your financial plan. So everything is in US dollars. Even though you go to a Canadian school, it's going to be US dollars. And normally your loan will be approved as US dollars. So your financial plan looks like this. You have your costs, right? Let's say $60,000 is in US dollars. Then we also ask you, do you have any additional funding to yourself? Do you have any scholarships? Do you have grants? Do your family members or friends help you? Do you have personal funds? Does your employer help you? Maybe there's a tuition reimbursement, etc., from your employer from your home country. So we also get those from you, because everything will need proof. So if you have the funding for scholarship, etc., we'll ask for proof. So please ensure that these funds are available funds, not past funds. So it should be available to you now. If it's scholarship, it may be also in the future in a letter saying that you have it 10,000, let's say this semester, and 10,000 next semester, right? So whatever proof you have that will equate to what you're putting in US dollars here, we will need the proof. So how we do this is we calculated the cost for you. We calculated what funding is available to yourself, then we get the gap here. It says funding gap. So basically your expenses minus your assets. If anybody is accounting major, they will understand the liabilities versus assets, right? So that's what it is. So whatever is the gap is what is saying is if your gap is 18,000, so when you're checking for your requested loan amount, so when you're putting your requested loan amount, you can put it according to what this gap is. So you don't overestimate things or underestimate things. Because in this process, we will also ask for how many semesters do you have remaining to understand your overall cost. Because as you know, we ask for 1 year. If you have 4 semesters, it's 2 years. We're going to calculate the 2 years for you. Okay, so you don't need to do any calculation, just you need to know your 1 year costs and whatever is available for funding until graduation. It doesn't have to be now, it can be for until graduation. Then after then, your requested loan amount, you can use your funding gap as a starting point. So we also give you tips always. And then you can put that accordingly. If you think that you underestimated, you can always go back and look at it. Okay, is this 1 year cost? Am I really going to study 4 semesters, right? So your school is also very handy with those things while you're admitted. Hey, how long is my program actually, right? So you can have the right estimates, right request. Again, like mentioned, living expenses can be covered with MPOWER if it's a US school. So always also speak with your financial aid office if they're good with it, because we disperse the funds directly to the school. Then they will need to disperse the living expenses to you. So it's very important that you have the arrangement with them. Then after understanding your financial standing, we want to get your ID so we can finalize the application form now. We recommend that you have your passport, valid passport, of course, not expired, if you upload it, because depends on the situation, right? If as an international student, we will need to have a passport to travel. So it will be important for the final decision as well to have that, so that we can help you further for the immigration documents, because you will need it for immigration documents anyways. So if you don't have it yet, that's also fine. You can put your valid government photo ID, national ID. We need to have your nice picture though, date of birth, and your full name in there to ensure that that's a valid ID for us. So we always given suggestion here: identity document, driver's license, state ID. They all have pictures, validity, date of birth, and full name. So those are going to be crucial to move forward. That's why if you have a student ID, please ensure that you don't provide your student ID if you're already studying. And after this, depends on the situation. We give decision faster. Of course, we will still need the documents, but looking at your application, we can say, this is what you requested. We're good with it if you provide the documents for us. And as you can see here, you must submit all requested documents, of course. Nothing is official until then. But from looking at your application, understanding your full picture from written application, we can tell you that you have conditional offer for you. Or whatever you applied for, we can say, you know, you applied for 50, we're okay with 30. So you will also know what you can get from us for a long time. So when you start an application as well, you can start for a full academic year. So if you need to apply for fall 23 and spring 24, actually you can apply for that now as well. So we extended a little bit. So you can apply for a full year. Maximum is 100,000 US dollars, as we talked about. So if you applied for $80,000 in this application, and then we said, you know what, congratulations, we can give you $60,000, that's your application. So this is how much you can get from us. So you will know exactly how much MPOWER can support you according to the written application that you have provided. So that's it from me, from how the application flow is, importance of certain fields, and how easy we make it for you so you understand what you can qualify for from the beginning. Of course, if you put your application correctly from the beginning, there will never be issues. Please ensure that your application is fully correct for us to decision with the documents.
And actually, I'm going to answer a really common question I saw, Gizem, during your application. A lot of people asked, so I want to have the strongest application ever next year. What do I do?
Yes.
The number one reason applications get delayed is the documents and information on your application don't match the documents. And that means your application can't pass. So generally with documents, whatever claim you made in the application, we'll just later ask you to verify it. Typically with documents, you need what you used to apply to school and then proof of any claims you made. That's it. So nothing else there. But Gizem, you said this is it from me, and that is incorrect because I have questions for you. So
this is it from sharing my screen.
and again, she just pieces out now. So actually, a lot of people asked, and keep in mind, there are people here from all stages of the journey. How long does the application take typically?
So to submit it is like 15-20 minutes if you're taking your time. If you know everything, it's going to take 5 to 7 minutes. But after you submit your application, depends on certain criteria. So first of all, there is a part for certain countries we will pull credit history, right? We use NOVA for credit history to understand if you have any delinquencies. We don't look at the credit score, just the credit history for on-time payments. If there's no delay there, right, and everything goes smooth, you may be able to get your decisioning if the documents are correct also and everything is intact, 5 to 7 business days for sure. However, your application needs to be correct. Your documents need to be on the spot so we don't come back to you and say, hey, we need this additional document or we need clarification here.
Right. And so how early should someone apply, or when's the ideal time to apply? And then what are the options in applying for a loan?
Sure, definitely. I would say as early as possible. So you can apply 12 months prior. So we have opening right now for fall 23, spring 24. We have applicants, started applications, even got approved for fall 23. So they just need to do their immigration documents. The earlier, the better, because your financials can change too, right? Things can change. It gives you enough leeway as to which school you want to go to, what do you want to do. So as soon as you have your admission letter, of course, you can start without an admission letter, but for bulletproofing, you have your admission letter, we have opening, please start it.
Right. And so what if someone unfortunately is having a funding shortfall and they can't apply early?
Sure. So if they have any funding shortfall, let's talk about it, right? First of all, your relationship manager is there to understand what type of shortfall it is. What do you have? What can you have? Or even when you're filling out the application, there may be something that is very crucial that is missed that will help to understand your future potential. So please talk to us first to see if we can understand what that gap would be, because application may have an issue, and then we will understand what is needed and walk you through accordingly.
I used a phrase that made you answer a different question. That is my bad. So I think it's like if you're already in the process, you know, and you have a funding shortfall, what you should do, absolutely reach out to a relationship manager.
Yes.
But let's say if you're an enrolled student, you got a tuition bill, can you apply late is kind of or can you apply for a past due bill was where I was kind of going with it.
Okay, past due, perfect. You need to look at it from customer relations, you know, like past due. Okay, so past due can be possible if it's 180 days from the date of application. So today is October 12th for most of us, hopefully. And 180 days would be like 6 months, right? If you go back, would be April.
Yeah.
It would still be spring. So to us, fall is what? August to December. Normally, that's what it is with schools. And it may be different for you. So sometimes there's that confusion to winter, spring, and fall. And spring is January through May. So you still can probably apply for spring 22 and summer 22 because we're able to cover 108 days prior to your application date.
Awesome. And so I see one question very frequently, I think, for those that joined after Silver's beautiful session. The MPOWER loan is really awesome because you do not need a cosigner. You do not need collateral. In fact, we want to accept it. We do everything based on your future potential. And so a lot of people, I think, were asking, like, can I have that? Do I need one? And the answer is absolutely not. We believe in you, and we want you to have the independence to support yourself through your program. And that's, what we are founded on. And then Silver, I just mentioned you. I'm gonna go turn back to you. There's a few people in the chat that are asking if I want to be an agent for MPOWER, if I want to refer my friends to MPOWER, how do you work with us? And tell them about a referral program.
Okay, so some people want to be our agent. That's great news. Definitely, we have a referral program that is open to our friends, that anyone that who's like MPOWER or who thinks that MPOWER is useful for yourself or for your friends, your acquaintance, please come to our website, and we have a referral web page for you to fill out a short form to enroll in our referral program. If you enrolled and your friends that referred by you complete an application, and you will be able to get $300 in prepaid card that you can use it to buy whatever you want. In the US, I think, do we have it in Canada dollar? In USD?
It's issued in USD, but we can deliver rewards to any country or any citizenship. So it doesn't matter where you are, the reward will absolutely work for you.
Yeah, so you can use this $300 to buy anything everywhere you want. And your friends who got referred will also get $100 in rewards. So, and you can make as many referrals as you want. And please do so and help us to spread the word and help us to help more students.
Yeah, and our referral program manager has kindly reminded me that there are more than 8,000 reward options globally. So there is an extensive library of rewards for you to check out, but typically things are a $300 USD value. That's if you refer 3 people successfully, that's $900. If you refer more than that, it never stops. So if you want to be our agent, I would start with a referral program. It's pretty sweet. And then we're always happy to talk to anyone that wants to be more of an official partner, or if you're a business, also please feel free to reach out to set up some time. But back to students, which is the more important topic. So Gizem, there's some questions about what the loan can be used for in the US versus Canada. Can you provide more detail for everyone?
Yes, definitely. So for US, we disperse the fund. With all of them, we disperse the funds to the school, but we also have a school certification going on where school verifies how much funds you need, like the allocation of funds. For US, we have that. Canada, we don't. So sometimes what can happen is with Canada schools, because we don't have that, they may not be accepting that, right? Because we don't have that certification. So they may not be able to pay that living portion to you. So they may need to return it back to us, and you'll be like, what am I going to do with my living expenses? So that's why I wanted to divide US and Canada, just to ensure. US, because we have the school certification, they will tell exactly how much they can accept. So that makes a difference. I hope that makes sense.
Nope. Made sense to me, but maybe, we'll send out this recording afterwards so people can listen to it again. And then we'll also send out what Gizem presented today so you can look through it in deeper detail. I almost said detail, which isn't appropriate for that. But so I'm going to wrap up. If you haven't yet asked a question, we'll try to get back to you quickly right now. But Gizem, Silver, just to close up, I want to know 2 things from you. Why is MPOWER the best product for international students? And what advice do you have for our future international students? And I'm going to start with Silver.
I will start with the advice. I think it's always good to be well prepared for funding and also for your life after you graduate in the US or Canada. Because especially if you go to a master degree in the US, it's usually only takes 1 to 2 years. That's going to be a very short time. Plus, you will be in a foreign country and you will need time to adapt to this foreign country and adapt to the study pace and to make new friends. And time will pass very, very fast. So be ready to try to prepare to get internship or to broaden your networks to be able to get a job after you graduate. That's my advice. And also same as funding. If any time that you will think that, hey, I think I will need some extra money next semester, start application with us now. Do not need to wait until you actually need the money, because the application usually takes at least, I think, 1 to 2 weeks. And you also want to make sure that you fill out the application correctly and get documentation that match with what you wrote in the application. And if you mismatch and misupload a wrong document, and it can take even longer time for you to get approved from us. So always be prepared. And why MPOWER is the best option for international students. I think I actually really like our fixed rate feature because it's really predictable. It helps you to plan your future repayments, and you will not have like a sudden like bigger amount that you have to deal with in the future. And also this rate will not increase throughout the whole long term, which is up to 10 years. So over the 10 years, your rate will not increase, but your salary maybe increase after you get a job and get promoted over time. So that's the best thing I like about MPOWER.
Awesome. Because same question.
Yes,
what advice do you have,
course.
and why is MPOWER the best fit for international students?
Why MPOWER, first of all, as a prior international student, not requiring credit score is unbelievable. When I came to US, I didn't have anything to build my credit, and we didn't have student loan options, unfortunately, at that time. But I needed to get a car loan, I don't know, like credit card percentage for a small amount, and I was paying that and trying to work at school. It was very tough. This will also help you to build your credit history in the US to get this loan, and you don't have credit score requirement. I think that's one of the most important things why MPOWER. I can count hundreds of them. I'm going to stop here. The other thing is, as advice from an international student, I had a 1-year accelerated program. Time flies so fast that I realized that I didn't plan well, like guilty as charged, but Silver said, right? So please, as soon as you start, think about if you can get on-campus jobs, can you do internships? How can you make your grades high, and how can you shine so that when you work with the International Student Office, they can help you to find a job OPT as soon as possible. That's very important as an international student. Advice for application, please put it correctly. And if you have any questions, always reach out so that it's correct. You don't need to start a new application. Documentation, we have also some tips on your dashboard. Please read through those document comments so you can give the right documents, because sometimes validity may be missing, it may be blurred, or it may not show exactly what the application says, but please also look at those cues. That's it.
Right. And so, because if people need to reach out, what guidance do you have, or what's the best way, fastest way to reach out?
So we have high volumes of applications and inquiries, first of all. So if it's a very urgent case, meaning in a day you need a decision for certain reasons, right? please put that in the email that is urgent, needs decision in a day. And it should be actually accurate, right? Because there are a lot of people waiting. If you're going to apply for a later term, please ensure that you can send an email to us. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. That's the best way to reach out at this point. You can reach out to us at empower.me@empowerfinancing.com. Then we'll be able to answer your questions. But if you have any urgency for decision, please put that in your subject line.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, everyone, I know I've held you a minute over, so thank you so much for attending our session today. We'll send out a recording after this, as well as the PowerPoint that Gizem shared. We'll also send out a survey, which we actually take really seriously. We use them to figure out what we want our future live sessions to look like, what topics to cover, and we love the feedback. So please fill out the survey, let us know what we can do better, and also let us know what you like so we can make sure that these continue to be effective for international students. Once again, great to have you. Thank you, Silver. Thank you, Gizem. You're excellent as always. And that's it, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday or Thursday. And until next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.